What's most amazing about the stock rise today is that essentially the headline should be stocks surge on the Treasury Secretary saying water is wet. All he's doing is entering a room of bankers and saying, hey, everybody, guess what? I've touched water and it's wet. I've thought about the fact that China has all the manufacturing in the world, and I've realized we probably shouldn't start a trade war with the folks who sell us the stuff that we use to make stuff.
So, David, I replayed that from yesterday because this is where, sort of to Tim's point, Trump has lost his, at one point, pretty firm grip on narrative dominance, which is a term I'm borrowing from Angelo Carusone. The narrative dominance on the economy is gone. I think Trump has his lowest approval rating on handling of the economy ever. At all points in his first term, it was higher than it is right now. And that is because to the markets, there's some wish casting, I understand, and so Bessent goes in, and I guess as opposed to a week ago, they believe him and they respond favorably to what he says. But what shoppers, people that do the grocery shopping and the shopping for baseball uniforms and the shopping for all this stuff that families rely on being able to get in supply and at affordable prices from places like Walmart and Target and Home Depot is either not going to be there, according to those company CEOs, or it's going to be far more expensive. That is not something that he can turn on and off with a social media post.
No, one wonders how he'll react to it. And there was an amazing chart by a guy named Neil Dutta, who's at Renaissance Macro Research. And what he did was charted when Scott Bessent is in the news, what the market does, versus when Howard Lutnick and Peter Navarro are in the news. When they're in the news, the latter two, goes down incredibly.
Because they're bozos, or because they're isolationists,
because
or why?
Of Wall Street's continued faith in the fact that Scott Bessent is going to be sort of a voice of reason. Yeah. I think that's what the reporting has borne out over the last couple of days, that when he has the president's ears, Wall Street feels more confident. But Derek is absolutely right in his comments. I mean, what we heard there from Scott Bessent was, as you said, it's wish casting. It's giving you kind of baseline facts about the situation and instilling in Wall Street some optimism that he's going to win out in whatever argument takes place in the Oval Office. I think it's worth kind of sitting back and looking at the scenario as it exists now, and you hear from all manner of Chinese officials. They're willing to talk. I think that a senior official today said the door is open to talks if they have a more respectful President Trump who is clearer about his objectives. That phone in the Oval Office isn't ringing, and I think that's fundamentally the president's problem at this point. He thought that with all this braggadocio and all of this hubris, it was going to work, and China was going to break down and call, and that hasn't happened yet. And China's in a unique position compared to all these other trading partners that the U.S. has in terms of just the might of the economy, what the government is able to do vis-a-vis its economy. But that is the predicament he finds himself in. And so for all the happy talk that we heard yesterday about how he's not going to play hardball and he's not going to be the sort of acrimonious fight with the Chinese, fundamentally, it's at a stalemate. It's what Scott Bessent said it is, which is that tariffs can't remain at 145% and there be any progress on these negotiations. That is a pickle, to say the least, that the White House finds itself in. And I think it's anyone's guess sort of how they get out of that, barring suggesting that they move away from the tariffs they have in place. And that's what we've seen over the last couple of days, is the president sort of walking back himself and through his advisors what that tariff level might be. And I saw that the FT is reporting just a few minutes ago he's going to scale back, again, according to the FT, what the tariffs would be on automakers. So it's not the kind of hardball tactics that we were told to expect at the beginning of this fight.
It's not even a negotiation. It's Donald Trump literally crawling back into his snail shell.
Greatly redefining the contours of what he says he's going to do in this fight.
Even that's too sophisticated.